Right, this is part 3 of Back to Basics. So this is as far as we got. This is the cover. So you could be you could have any cover now. It doesn't have to be the one that we done previously. That was just to show you the faux leather technique, because this is where I personally began. So I thought I would go back to there. So anyway, what I'm going to do with this one, because I've got quite a, an inch spine here to play with, to be honest. All right, I am going to do 2 signatures in there, but if you're only doing one, I suggest you need to take some more off of here, because I'll just check. Because by the time I print a kit out, which I'm using the Iris kit, which people I know have already cut it out ready, so I thought I'd better use it. So, if you was using scrapbook papers, you could accommodate, because these papers ended up, oh, I'm looking for my ruler there, about 5 inches, I think, 5 1/4. Yeah, well, you can get sort of about 5 1/2, out of an A4 piece. It might be different for you in the US. So, I can't really sort of work with that because we don't have that here. Yeah, so I've already pre-cut mine, but I'm going to explain a bit about the papers. All right, but I thought, I know it looks like there's quite a bit left here, but I do normally do this. And once all the papers are in and your pockets are in, this then shrinks. It goes to about like that, right? But if there still is a bit of an overhang, then put tabs on your page and things like that. You can accommodate. So we shall see once the end of the video, and we shall see what's happening. All right, but that's how I'm doing it. So I thought 1 signature I don't think was enough. Yeah, but of course you could do 1 signature and put loads of tucks and spots in and things. All right, so I can't even remember how many pages I put in, but it felt right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then I've got a little flap here. 9, 10. So that would be 11, because there will be 11 the other side. 12. Well, I've got 13. 14, 15, that I don't count, 16. Okay, so that's 16 pages, which makes 32 there, and then 64 writing sides. All right, so that's what they say, that's what they mean when they say 64 pages. That's one, that'll be another. All right, so you always go, so if there's 16 pages, 32, and then go 64 writing sides. All right, well, I know you don't write on that, but you know what I mean. Okay, right, but talk about a little bit about the pages before we go to that. Right, well, how I print them, as some of these will be, oh, I've separated the kits. That is not there's sort of like a bluey tony one in it, and then the other one with the browns. But because I've got this leathery type one, I thought it'd be nice to go with the browns and not the blues. So that's just me. So I just thought I would do that today. And it's big enough kit to split. You just print out the pages that you need. And also what I do is I will print out background pages more. Things like the plain ones, sorry. The plain ones like that, I shall print out maybe 2, 3 times. They come in handy for pockets, for tuck spots, all sorts of things. All right, so I do that. Then then I always do a couple of extra of these pages. I haven't used these because I printed wrong and it was upside down. So, but I will utilize them, by using them for pockets and things like that. So they don't go to waste. It happens, even to me. Upside down, right, and then when you do the ephemera, that's Now this is on the inkjet. So I've got all those inkjet ones to use because this is how I test print things. So that's as it is. Okay. Then you can print a few pages where you choose, where in your printer settings, if you're using the JPEG and print from them, you can choose 2 pages. You can choose 4 pages. You can actually go to choosing 9 pages. So you've got little, you know, little tiny little things which become tickets. This is what I play with to get bits of ephemera and things like that that actually go with the kit. And I haven't done it today because I've got loads of tickets printed out that might go anyway. So I didn't want to go and do any more. But that's just 2 pages. All right, printed. If it's a PDF that you're using, you have to go down in a percentage, I think, and you will, yes, it will shrink it like this, but it will be in the middle of your page, and then you get waste. But that waste, tea stain and use. Yeah, so that's what I found. There might be other ways. And also with iPads, I think there's a little program which I will post below in the description box. There's a little program you can get for your iPad that you can choose multiple pages and things. I've actually used it as well, but I can't remember the name of it. My sister uses it all the time because she likes printing from her iPad. So we've worked out what to do. So there's that. I can't really go into detail over it because I don't use it enough, but it's possible. That's all I can say. Right, so that's that. It's really hard to explain. I just print loads of stuff. You know, I do overprint, but then I do use up, you know, on collage work and things like that, you know, what I have left, or I use it in another journal. It might go with something I'm using. So that's the blue one that's printed as well. Not here, that I would take them out. That ephemera, I would use most of that. Yeah, this is just extras printed, so you can see it. Oh, and I printed the eco dye papers as well because I thought it went beautifully with it, with the browns, because I thought that was just worked really lovely. I mean, it goes with the blue as well, but yeah, so I printed those out and back to back on those. All right, and I thought they would be nice for a few things. So this is the blue. Like I say, I printed a few of those and tea stained them all already. So, and I've done about tea staining. There's a video on it, so I'll post that one as well. But I paint mine on. Okay, so I don't get them saturated, but these are laser printed anyway, so it wouldn't matter. But it's just that I do them in here and I don't bake them because I like being in my studio, not in my kitchen. Me in my kitchen, I don't like. I know we got to eat and the family got to eat, but it's a chore. Yeah. And I think while the oven's on, I might have to cook. Yeah, so I just printed out those and I've separated them, and I'll use those in a different journal. Yeah, so that's what I do. So there's loads, isn't there? Time you print out a couple of times, and I usually print out these a few times as well. That's the postcards I do for pockets and things. Right, so that, then I separate them. I put that away because I don't need that. Okay, then I cut everything out what I want to use, which is all here. It's all cut out, but I pre-inked mine, so you can go, because I couldn't video yesterday because there was builders in another house near us putting scaffolding up, and it's just, and the day before there was so much noise, there's no way I could video, so I got on and literally cut everything out and all the little bits. See, but this is where I shrink them down. All right, and they end up coming in handy for little collages. And oh, that's bits off the paper I just put together because that could be a little notebook thing, which you'll see this what I'm doing with it. But anyway, that's all the cutouts. Okay, well, I'll just put a glassine envelope in there. Sorry, talk about that in a minute. It's a pocket, tags. That's a blue one. I'll leave the tags in here, but I most probably won't be using that one. I'll use these. I just thought I'd make a change from using both things. I'll just use part of it and see what I can come up with. That was blue, so that most probably won't be used, but again, if you've printed out an extra piece of this, like so, say that, and you haven't got one that colour, but you want one, just lay that down and draw around it. Make one yourself. Okay, that's your way around it. Right, and then I usually sorry, you know, I've got all these bits of paper, odd shapes as well, come in handy, different types, book pages, that's just a bit of card, and then there's some different textured paper as well. These are big sheets, these ones, so, but it's more like really thin tracing paper. They're nice. I have no idea where I got that from. Music paper, book pages, all tea stained. I mean, you don't have to tea stain, you don't have to do any of that, you can keep it as is, you know, but that's just a bit of tracing paper there, and then some sort of lines paper there. Some odd bits, you know, that's what I do. I've got loads of bits of that. More I won't be using that because it's got pink on it, but that's one of my mop-up things, but they come in handy for collages and things. And that's some tea stain papers. Yeah, some ripped to that. Well, you can use those. A nice yellow one, that would go nice. Yeah. And then loads of other bits. Yeah, so I get a bundle of that around me as well. That's another bit of tracing paper. It's yellow. It could come in handy for making an envelope or a glassine bag, something like that. And that's usually like the mop-up, the inks I'm using when I'm making tags. I literally just swish it around in it. But again, you don't have to do any of that, but I just thought I'd show you this is where it all begins. And I've got one glassine bag there, I've got a couple of envelopes that we could do up, and that one's nicely opened. And again, I've got a video on altering envelopes. Yeah, so that's in my tray as well. Alright, which we will need some of that. Right, back to here. So I worked out with 16 pages, then 9 each. So you cut them all down to the size you want. You cut them in half. Yeah, and let's, right, I will put a book page in. You know, if it's something I don't like, then I cover it up with gesso, as you know, or cover it up with the pattern paper that we've printed. Yeah. Right, this one is going to be, right, okay. I've done that to make it fit. I leave that as it is because sometimes this can become as a flip page. You can stick another page to that and it can flip out. All right, if not, it can become a tuck spot and a pocket. Yeah. So that's, don't always cut off your bits that you don't want. They come in handy. A bit of line paper. This is just a bit of, and again, I've done the same with that. All right. And if not, it gives you a nice edge. If you want a nice edge, if not, take it off. I've just left it all. Another flip there as well, because the other side, if you see, done, that flips out. So because it's A4 pieces of paper, that's all I'm left with. But you can create some different things, and you can actually, if you wanted to stick that down, you could make, you know, make a pocket, and you could stick it down there, and you could make 2 pockets, you know, and then put a bit of pattern paper down there. So this is why I leave things like this. Yeah. So some more. And I usually do a little bigger that way every now and again. Just create a bit of interest. Yeah, this one I haven't got many bits in between because I think, is it this one that's done? Oh no, that was my new one. Yeah. So I haven't got any pockets in here, nothing. I've just got a little thing there that could create something interesting with it. Don't know what. But you'll find as you're going along, it helps. Right, I'm going to put an envelope in the middle of both of mine. Which is that one, and that one is from the kit. And that still goes, okay. So that's all cut out ready. Haven't inked it yet, but they will be stitched in that way like that. Then when you stitch it, that will then be all hidden because you can stick the envelope down then. Yeah, and then you have a nice tuck spot there. So that one's going to go in there. And that. Put that like that. Because there's got a bit of blue on that one, I'll most probably cover that up. Alright. So I'm trying to stay away from blue. No, that's not going to go there. So do it the other way around. And that's going to get lost. Right, okay. I'm just wondering if that's better. No, I'm going to leave that as it is as a centre signature, no envelope. I'll use the envelope somewhere else, all right? Because I actually really like that in the middle. See, I changed my mind already. I'll just put this one back. And I'll forget about the blue one. Because we can make more. Put that one in there. Yeah, I didn't like it all together. I think it needed a plain envelope rather than a patterned one. But with the pattern goes well with the plain. Yeah. So that's all I do. Alright. Again, just, and I always come in a little bit shorter there as well sometimes because I just like to see this sort of thing going on. Some of you might like all your pages exactly the same length. Then you must do what you do. You know, really, I'm just showing you what I do. It's not set in stone. There's so many different ways of doing everything. So I just thought it'd be nice for you to see the way I do mine. And for the beginners, you know, that there's a lot of newbies there. So get cutting and put them together, and then we shall go from there. Right, before I do, once my pages are sort of basically put together, okay, I will go through and add stenciling. Not very much, just a little bit, because I do tend to do that again after, because I don't know what's going to go there, I don't know what's going to go wherever. I would gesso these out a bit. I have no idea where I got to. I can't remember. I got rudely interrupted by my lovely darling husband. So anyway, yeah, stencil. So I'll go along and stencil the pages, but like I said, I think I won't stencil all of them. I just stencil bits because I have no idea where things are going to go. All right, and the stencil I'm going to use today, I've used this one quite a lot. Okay, is the Stamperia one, the mixed media art. All right, sometimes they don't have the exact ones in, but they're very similar to this. Okay, and they're really handy because you've got a lot going on, and I like them. So I'll use that one. and stick to sort of one. The inks I use, of course, are normally tea stain for stenciling because I don't like it too dark. But again, that's me. And that's my other ink I would use. So Vintage Photo and tea stain, that's my go-to inks always. Okay, and I like these Ranger Archival Inks, and I like the coffee one. They do other ones as well. Yeah, I use that one because again it's waterproof and stays on, you know. And I've got a black one of these as well. But if you've only got a couple, then say get a coffee one and a black one. And honestly, that was the ones you would tend to go to all the time. Okay, so if you didn't want any more inks, you know, or you're not in a position to buy inks, those are the ones. Or, you know, you could, if you've got this one and not them, then you can use those to ink your pages up and ink round your products. You know, utilise what you have got. Don't go buying, you know, all new. Just experiment and see what happens. All right. So, stenciling. As you know, I use my little makeup sponges because I find they don't, you know, it's starting to perish a little bit now, but they last for ages. Whereas I love the Tim Holtz products, don't get me wrong. I'm really a Tim Holtz fan. I love what he does, and I think I've loved what he's brought to the community. Sorry, that's a bit wonky, that page, and that's really irritating me. There we go. So, you know, but his pads things last a couple of weeks for the amount of inking I do, and no, don't like it. So I tend to sort of just take a page out. You know, some people will put the journal together. I do that as well, and I could have quite easily done that. Put the journal together and then do all this, but I'm going to do a little bit like this, all right? I said this too many times then, didn't I? Right, so I don't want too much on. And this always tends to look a bit darker than what it actually is on the screen, so if you do happen to make it too dark, that's when I get my gesso out and I gesso over it as well, you know. So I'll just do a little bit. Oops, moved there. I moved again. I'm not very good today. I'm slipping on the glass mat actually. Right, stay put, you. There we go. Like that. And that's what I do. So you need to go right the way through the book. That's the wrong one. But not every page will be done like that. There's only a little bit, like, say here, I might just do a little bit of writing. Yeah. Gently, do you see? And a little bit of writing like across there, like that. So just little touches right the way through the signatures. So I'll go ahead and do all that and then get back to you. Okay, right, I've done all that. Okay, I've gone through and stenciled all bits and pieces. Yeah, there's only a little bit on there, and I've gone right the way through. Okay, and that's what I've done. Right, what I suggest is, right, as a beginner, all right, if you're doing this for yourself, right, and this is how I started, I wouldn't go any further and do anything else to the pages until you've sewn it in, and then it can become like a glue book, right? But if you're doing it for somebody, I would suggest maybe, you know, do a lot of the work beforehand. You know, it's really entirely up to you how you go about it. I think for me, for this sort of little back to basics series, I'm going to sew mine in. Okay, I'm not going to stitch anything to the edges of the pages, because that's not how I started. I didn't do that. I didn't use my sewing machine at all. I literally used to make them up and then play with them, basically. So I won't put any stitching pockets in or anything like that. So it'll be a bit more like filling a blank journal for this series, really, I think, because I've done one similar to that, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I'm going to stitch mine in quite quickly without doing any more work. All right, and then we'll go from there. We'll make things up as we go along, because that's how I started. All right. Need to talk about threads and things. I got this one off the internet. It's white. It's great. I got that off Amazon. Okay, love it. But that's wish I'd got the sort of tan colour, really, but sometimes I can stain it up. That's pre-waxed. It's really lovely. This one I found at Carbu, and it's so strong. It's brilliant. Okay, really lovely. But it's quite an old one, so you have to just sort of like look around for it, really. But I started with embroidery thread because that's all I had, and I used that. So that's a full length one, I think, and that's where it started for me. I have got the beeswax now if I want to wax it up, which is great again. So I think you just put it through like so. So that waxes it all up for you. Like I say, I didn't have this in the beginning. I just used this as it was. So let's put that down there into the wax. That's it. Got a bit of a knot in that one. That's okay. Yeah. So that's waxed up now. You can do it a couple of times, actually is better, but yeah. So that's, you know, that's where I started. That one I've got along the way, Carbu, and I give it a tug to see how strong it is. That is really strong. It's great. And that's one I bought recently, which again, nice and strong. Okay, pre-waxed. So that's that. So what shall I use today then? I think I'll go with this one because of the leather look. That'll go quite nice, and it'll be quite hidden, but I usually cover, you can cover the stitching up anyway, so it's no problem. So shall we sew them in then? It's really weird not putting anything on the pages though, because I usually like to stitch down some of the pages and everything, but I'm not going to today. Right, as the next thing I do is I will make a template. I might have one. I'll just go and, because I've got loads. Let's have a look at that one. Oh gosh, I think that might work. It's only one signature one though. I think we'll be okay with that one. I can trim a bit off the bottom, no problem. Yep. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, isn't it? Yeah, no, I'm going to do it the other way. I'm going to do 3 for you, and I'll show you exactly what I do. That will be cheating, won't it? Right, cut a piece of card. Same length as that. Which is same length as your signature, I should say, as that. Right, okay, so I do my little template, the same size as my signature. Yeah, there. and 1.25 inches across, because that is what I've allowed, because from the stitching there, that's why I put the stitching down, is like sort of 5.5 really. So both sides should be about the same, yeah. And then 1.25 inches is there, so I make that exactly the same, yeah. And for 2 signatures it's harder than 3 because I usually fold up, but this one we have to measure, all right. But I do exactly the same. To find the middle, I do that, and then I'll fold back and back. That's if you don't want to measure. You can spread them out a bit more if you want, but that's the way I do it, okay. And then I get a pen or pencil. Let's put that in. Just so it makes it more visible, that's all. Now. Okay. Right, just worked it out. So we got that far, okay? Right, then I fold it in half to get the middle. Right, so I'm so used to doing 3 signatures, or 1. I thought, oh, because I don't like too big a gap in the middle signature. So look, yeah, so that's there. Then, so you put that in the middle, say on the 6th there, and I measure about, so that's 1/8, okay, and then I mark 1/8 mark, and that now here is our width between our signature, okay, which I could go a little bit further, I suppose. 1 more each side, but then that'll be quite large. No, I'm going to keep it as that. Okay, and again, the same as that one. Put that on the 6th there. 1/8 that side. All right, and then that's our width of our signature. So we have to join those together, which I might have to put my head forward. Sorry. Right, so that now all in there is going to be the width between the signature, which is, I think, is about right. It doesn't matter here so much, okay, because you can put big pockets in, you know, on the front cover or things like that. So I just don't like to see too much down that bit there. I think that's all right. Okay, so if we cross, I'll do it with a pen now. If we cross there, that is where our holes are going to be. One off centre there. There, okay. And when we do the middle, which I won't do it now, we can just take one of these, yeah, and we know it's going to be about there, so I'll show you that in a minute. But anyway, that's what I do, okay. So that, what you have to do is find the middle of this one, which is 8 1/4. So we know that's 4 plus 1. Yeah, in the middle of that as well, which should be in there. Let's put that there and that there. I'm going to use this as the middle, because we know that line is there. It's right in the middle of those. Just mark that a little bit. There it is. And I have my middle mark. Yeah. Let's use a little pencil here. That's my middle. Alright. So we know now that's got to go on there. Like so. And that should fit in there. Making sure that's nice and square. Yeah. And then what we do is we make the holes. Which is one there. In the middle of that cross. Oh, ice pick I use. I don't know where my owl is, or owl, or whatever it's called. Go through there. Middle of the cross. Yeah. Middle of the cross. There. Okay. Right, so what I do now, fold that in half. Because it's already in the middle, you see, so, alright, it's easier, and then we use that as our guide. Right in the middle there. Okay. Alright, so we got that. So we got to just make sure that everything's sort of, you know, in place where we want it. Straight and it's fine. Right. And then you can pin it together, pin it, clip it, like that. Okay, all right, just make sure that's pushed in there a bit, really. Get one key, and that's fine. Okay. Some people do this in a phone book, in the crease of a phone book. I haven't actually got one of those. Okay, so as you know, I do it in my what do you call it, thing my husband made. So he made me that right at the beginning, so I am going to use that because I've got no phone book. So I have one of these, right, and I just shove it in there, which you've seen me use this a lot actually, and that's already folded, and we go into the middle. It should fit nicely on there. Just make sure that's there, like that, and then go through the middle on your cross. I like doing mine, as you know, all together, but oops, I moved. Yeah, that's it. Okay, that's right down there. So go ahead and do the other one. Which, don't see me do that one, don't need to see me do two. So I'll be back when that's done. Okay, let's sew in our signature then. Right, I do it 3 times the length plus a little bit more. Okay, length of the journal, well, length of that, 3 times plus a bit more, and that's it. Okay, and for a 3 pamphlet stitch, I start in the middle. I'm going to do the back signature first and then do the other one off camera, because once you've seen one, you've seen them all. I've done this quite a few times recently, so right, leave a bit out. Okay, and go to the bottom or the top, it's up to you, which you prefer. Okay, and if you find this bit a bit annoying, where because paper does move, definitely. You might have to take those out and then flip them through, but I think it's going to behave itself today for some reason. Sometimes it happens and I have to take these off and then try and find my needle. And then, so it comes out the bottom and then goes, miss the middle one, goes straight up to the top. Okay. Okay, like that. And then you come back through the middle. The only thing you've got to watch coming back through the middle is you don't split the thread. That sometimes, yeah, sometimes happens. So that's all right today. It makes it hard to pull it tight if that happens. I would pull it back out and go back in. Right, so that's that. And take one underneath. I'll take that longer one, I think. Do I need a bit more? Yeah, I think I will. I'm going to steal a bit before I start. What's this one? There we go. Because I haven't tightened it up yet. And I put one under there, so you've got on one side and one the other. Yeah, and then give a tug. Okay, and what I do, I'll hold that like that, and I'll just do a bit of a, oh look. Yeah, make sure that's nice and firm there. Okay, and then I'll go left over right, right over left. It's actually called a surgeon's knot and it's supposed to stop it slipping out, but let's get one more tug. I didn't check which way. Oh no, it's okay. There we go. Yeah, you need to check which way up everything is, but I'm okay, I've done it. I didn't go right over left then. Helps not to, I just swap hands. Okay. And then leave them, and you've got enough there to put dangles down here, or cut them shorter and put them in here. Okay, I'm just going to cut a bit off that. Okay. Right, so that's it. Now I'll go and sew the front one on and we'll be back. And there we go. Okay, it's all done. Wasn't that difficult, was it? The 3 pamphlet stitch is the way to start, really is. But when you find, you know, when you've got different things, you start, you can, well, you start to do 5, sometimes you need, and things like that. All right, but well, I can undo that now. Just be a bit careful, this is quite a sticky one. So, okay, and then hide that one. I'd cut them off shorter, and then you'll stick that envelope down like that, like so. Yeah, then you've got yourself a little envelope that looks quite nice in the middle. Right, so that's sewing in the signatures in the paper, so I'll leave that one as is because I think that's enough, and then we'll go on to decorating the pages, I think. So, but as a journal, that's all but done, ready, isn't it? You know, yeah. So you've got a bit of overhang here, all right. But mine normally, time I add everything, this will come out so much more. This bit shrinks, okay. It comes up, you know, it comes out like this. It sort of does that sort of thing, and then there's not much left here at all. All right. So, but anyway, if it is like that and you've done it like that and you think, oh, it's a bit short, then, you know, add your lace, add tabs, and that covers all that up. All right. But that's how I, exactly similar to the first one I ever made. All right. And I absolutely loved it. And the feel of it is just like leather. No, it's all nice and flexible. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that one, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.